It's the show all about our first state, Delaware. Highlighting all sorts of events, stories, current news, and exciting people. With your hosts, Patricia D. Harris and Richard F. Blackwell. Welcome to View from the 302.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the September edition of View from the 302. I'm Richard Blackwell.
And I am Patricia Harris, and welcome to our program that's all about our first state, Delaware.
That's right, on the first Wednesday of every month, Patricia and I will present up-to-date news and current events from all three counties in our first state.
And we will also spotlight the wonderful folks who are doing their part in keeping Delaware moving forward every day.
So Patty, tell us, who will you be visiting with today?
Richard, I am so excited to have with me today Angelica Vidro with Nature's Canvas by Artbug right here in Wilmington, Delaware. How about you?
All right, well, Patty, today I will be chatting with Mr. Ivan Thomas, Director of DETV-Channel 28, headquartered also in Wilmington, Delaware.
Awesome. Looking forward to that interview. And later in our program, Richard and I will have information on our COVID-19 situation and an update on how our students will begin the 2020-2021 school year.
That's right. So stay tuned, everyone.
You're watching View from the 302. Welcome to View from the 302. My name is Patricia Harris, and I am your co-host. I am so excited to have with me today Angelica Vidro with Nature's Canvas by Artbug. Angie, welcome. How are you today?
I'm excited to be here.
Good. I'm excited to have you. And so today we're going to talk about, is it possible? So Angie, I'm going to ask you this question. Is it possible to still provide great customer service during COVID? What do you think?
I think so. I think that it's about giving people the best possible experience, regardless of their platform, their circumstance, or their situation. It's just kind of being mindful about how to do things. It might be a little bit different. It might be a little bit more creative, but I think that it's possible in any setting.
Yes. And so you hit it. It might be a little bit more creative, right? Because now our new norm is we're walking around with half our face covered, right? And where as someone may not have had to say anything, they could have just simply smiled at you. It's hard to do that right now, right? It's hard to see a smile underneath the mask, right? And so you got to be a little bit more intentional, a little bit more creative about just expressing yourself when using your facial expressions, because half of it is covered up.
And COVID COVID has really kind of put a scare in people. And so wearing a mask is also kind of a sign of protection for yourself and for other people. But then it also scares you, because I find myself walking around and smiling naturally and remembering, oh my goodness, they can't even see me smile. And unless I'm really paying attention to someone's facial, their features or their structure or the way that their eyes move. When you smile, your eyes change. You know, your eyebrows kind of go up, and there's different things. Unless I'm mindful to pay attention to that, or people nod, there's different things that you can do to kind of notice whether or not someone's facial features are changing. But other than that, you know, I'm at a point sometimes where I don't know if I should even look at people. Because I don't know if I'm offending them. I don't know if they're scared of me. I don't know if I'm even scared of people. And so sometimes when I'm getting good customer service and they go above and beyond that mask, then you can feel it.
Right. Yeah. And so together, you and I are on this journey to acknowledge great customer service, right? Back in 2017, you and I began a conversation about customer service because I believe we both noticed that customer service seemed to be taking a dive. And I don't want to speak for you. I'm recalling our conversation, but I know for me, I felt like customer service was changing, right? Whereas it was something that was extremely important at one time, now isn't as important, you know? And so now, and again, I don't want to speak for you, so chime in.
So I grew up with an old school mentality. My parents, you know, are hardworking people, and they taught me good manners. But I do have kind of a traditional mentality that service means everything. Internal service and external service, internal customers, external customers. And I think because I've always had a service background, I've always worked in some type of service industry. When I was very young, my first major job, I was a park ranger. And so I learned public service very, very early. My father worked for the city of Philadelphia for 40 years. So service was in my blood. It's what we talked about at home. And when I became a park ranger, you know, the eye contact that I made and the ways that I made customers feel in the park and visitors to the park was important, because that was the brand of the city. That was what visitors were going to remember Philadelphia by, the park ranger that they met in Fairmount Park. And so I carried that into kind of every job. And then I worked in a city and state, and my job was in service to people. And I remember taking pride in how I made people feel. So.
Yeah, and you and I have that in common, because I too started out very young. First job was at Dairy Queen, so working the cash register, having to meet the customers with a smile and present their wonderful treat, a vanilla cone, a banana split, whatever whatever they ordered, but had to do it with a smile. And that was something that was important to the owners and the managers of Dairy Queen as well. So I wanted to ask you a question. When you were a park ranger, was that something that they taught you at work? Was that something that they talked about at work? Or was it something you just simply carried from home?
It probably was a little bit of both.
It
was there was some training about public speaking and how to approach people, and, you know, how to make people feel good, and, you know, how to create an experience for people. I definitely was trainable. I think that customer service has a lot of transferable skills, and that, you know, if you start in retail or if you start in some type of service industry, if you gain really good skills during that job, you're going to be able to transfer that into any field. Into anything that you do. And I think that's what happened to me. I just kind of said, this service to others feels good to me. And I want to make other people feel that way, but I also want to be treated that way. So I'm very mindful of it. I notice it all the time, which is, I think, what sparked our conversation.
Because we often talk about the great customer service we receive and the not so great customer service that we have received. I remember working for State Farm, And that was what I call my first real job, where I thought I was making real money. And, and customer service was extremely important to them at that time. And we went through a number of trainings around customer service, treating the last customer like the first customer, and how to deal with an irate customer, you know. And that was something that I always carried with me as well. And then when, you know, if you know anything about MB&A back in the day, MB&A was very customer service oriented. And so that was something that stuck with me, that continued on. But I too have to agree and admit that I think it was something that was in me already. And that's why it was so easy to embrace. And so now, you know, you and I had a conversation just about what has happened. So, you know, we talked about COVID in the beginning, but if we're honest, you know, we noticed some changes before COVID, right? We noticed,
Definitely.
you know, going to the grocery store and not being greeted by the person ringing you up, you know, no eye contact, no, how are you doing today? Did you find everything that you were looking for? And I know you know, I make a point when I'm not greeted to say, hi, how are you? Like, I'm here, you know, and you and I have talked about that a number of times. Now, there are also some companies out there doing a great job, you know, so if we
Sure, yes.
mention too, you know, Chick-fil-A, their customer service is awesome, right? You can pretty much count on being greeted every time and
Right.
receiving great customer service. Another one that I have to make mention of is Walgreens. You know, when you walk
Oh,
into
yeah, you're
Walgreens,
right. Yes,
they do say immediately, welcome to Walgreens,
they
you
sure
know.
do. They
And
absolutely
so
do.
we know that there are some companies out there that are still doing a great job, and that's their focus. And there are some others out there that, you know, maybe one day, Angie, you and I could help, you know, increase their customer service skills and work with their employees.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yes,
I'm
me
looking
and you
forward to that.
both. So let's share, Angie, let's share what it is that we are looking to do, hopefully starting next month. Do you want to touch on it?
Well, okay. So, Miss Patty and I have talked about this um, for a long time,
Mhm.
and this is a long time coming for us. We're super excited. We're both very passionate about this, and so we decided to create, I would say, I guess, a customer service oriented kind of organization that is going to focus on having a conversation about what it is to serve people, and, you know, to be mindful and to deliver an experience that people will remember, a positive experience that people will remember.
Mhm.
And so we're going to be making our rounds,
Yeah.
and we're going to be um, possibly not knocking on doors, maybe just showing up, just surprising people
Mhm.
with rewards of excellence,
Yes.
um, for customer service that is quality, that is real, that is authentic, that is transparent,
Mhm.
that is just happy. It doesn't cost anything to
Yes.
put a smile on someone's face. It
Not.
really doesn't. And the effort goes a long way. I can remember so many businesses, so many companies, so many individual people who have kind of made me happy or made me
Yes.
smile. I
Yes.
told Miss Patty about a story the other day. I went into a supermarket chain that we all go into,
Mhm.
and a young man was speaking to the customer ahead of me, and she was an older lady, and he was just carrying on a delightful conversation. And in my head, because I'm always paying attention, I said, I wonder if he's going to do this with me.
Yes.
And when I got to him, he was putting my items in the bag, and he said, last but not least.
Mhm.
And he said, I wonder what that means, last but not least. And I said, last but not least means that the last one is just as important as the first one.
Mhm.
And he laughed and I laughed, and he said, oh, that makes so much sense.
Mhm.
It was a very short conversation. It might have been 3 seconds,
Right.
but the his body language, his tone. He laughed. He carried on with me. He wished me a good day. I made a point to tell him that he was wonderful, and that he was a young person, so he might have been, if he was 18, he was old. And I said to him, your customer service is excellent.
Yes.
And I wanted to tell him that so that I could put a I guess a seed in his mind and in his heart that I appreciated his service that day, and hopefully he continued that. I didn't have a reward that day or an award, and I wasn't standing with Miss Patty to say, hey, look at what we got for you. But it's coming. And I should have gotten his name that day so I could go back and find him. I probably will see him again in the supermarket. But that was an example, a very simple example of what we're looking to do. And we are going to be making our rounds throughout Delaware.
Yes, we are.
And possibly Pennsylvania and maybe New Jersey.
Yes, and Maryland.
And Maryland and a lot of other places.
Yes.
But we're on a mission.
Yes.
We are on a mission.
Absolutely. And that was a perfect example. And I like the fact that he used something that he didn't even really understand, but for whatever reason, he embraced that, right? And he spoke it out. And then to have you be the recipient of what he said and to be able to help him to better understand it. I'm sure now he is using that all the time, and it feels really good that now he has a better understanding of what that means, And so being 18 years old, that was one of the things that I noticed, Angie, is that, it was our youth. But not only did I notice it in our youth, I also noticed it in our older individuals, our elderly, right? And so it was something that I often thought about, like, what is going on? So with our youth, are they just not being taught that it's as simple as just saying hello? That's how you make heartfelt connections, that initial word, hello. Yeah. And then it's how are you from there, and then it's a conversation that may only be a few minutes, but means so much.
Absolutely.
Right? And so I often wondered, like, are we not teaching our youth the importance of customer service?
I don't know if it's that we're not teaching them. I think that society today, the norm now is to have our faces buried into a device. And so we walk around kind of blindly, looking down. We don't even look up to talk to each other. That personal kind of interaction that you have with someone that want face to face, it's rare nowadays. If your face is not buried, reading and connecting with somebody that's not even in front of you,
right?
You know what I mean, or doing something else, we lose that connection and that contact that we have with people. That's the whole reason we're here,
right?
That we're creating relationships, and especially in businesses and in organizations, the whole goal is to create positive relationships so people keep coming back,
right?
And
exactly.
People remember who you are, and they remember the experience that they had. And sometimes we don't even understand how much the impact of our actions affects someone, positive or negatively.
Yes.
If I was having a bad day and he said that to me and made me laugh, he could have lifted my whole spirit in a minute.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I use the word, have we not taught them, because we're in a time that is, I think, different from when you and I were coming up, right? And I think that with technology and all of that we have to almost go back to old school, get back to old school.
I agree with that.
And but our youth today, they don't know what old school is, so the only way that they'll know is by us sharing that with them. And everything that you just said, and ending on, I could be having a bad day, but the fact that you took just a few seconds to speak to me, a few seconds to ask me how I'm doing, could change my whole outlook.
And opposite of that, if I was having a bad day and you treated me poorly, it could make it worse. It could
Yes.
tip me over the edge.
Yes.
We don't know what people are living in their day.
Yes.
And so a little bit of kindness goes a long way.
Goes a long way. And, so on the flip side of the age bracket, and so I think about our elderly, right? And so we see that there are a lot of our elders are back in the workforce, whether it's
Yes.
at Walmart or whether it's at a grocery store, whatever the case may be. And for whatever reason, we have our elders are working, right? And sometimes I find that it's difficult for them to provide good or great customer service. And so when I think about that, I'm like, why is that? And I wonder, is it just, they're tired, that they're in late 50s, 60s, 70s, a time where I would like to think that this is, their time where they should be relaxing, almost enjoying, not almost enjoying life, right?
And they may have had to return to the workforce.
Yes.
They may have had to deal with bad customer service, and they're just doing what they have to do to go home.
They'll go home.
Because sometimes customers are not always the most pleasant as well.
Exactly. They're not. Yep. And so, that what we're about to do is almost going to be twofold, right? Our goal is to help teach customer service, to be able to provide great customer service.
Yes.
Learn how to be a great customer yourself.
Exactly.
And I'm so excited about this. You and I we're going to be out, and so we want to share with our viewing audience, if you are a business owner, if you know of a business that provides great customer service, and you know of individuals that should be awarded, please reach out to Angie and I and let us know. And on the flip side of that, if you know of a company or organization where they could use some assistance on providing great customer service, please let us know about that as well. We are here to be to assist in the area. This is something that Angie and I are very passionate about, and we're just looking to everything you said, Angie. We're going to be out and about.
We will.
Rewarding individuals that are providing great customer service and helping those who may struggle, who may have challenges in that area, to be able to do better.
And when we find the quality service, we're going to hit them.
Yes.
Not physically, but they will have been hit by us.
So break that down a little bit more, Angie. What does that mean that they're going to be hit?
So the acronym is HITS.
Yes.
So it's hello. It's that simple.
It's that
That's
simple.
all.
Yes.
It's that simple. Hello. It's that simple. So when we come to you, wherever you are, providing quality service, and we notice, we're going to hit you.
Yes. And you will be presented with a pin that you'll be able to wear, not only that day, but every day. And It's going to say, I've been hit. Ask me why.
Yeah.
And when you ask them why, that's an opportunity for them to share the great customer service that they provided. And even during that time, that's going to be an opportunity for them to create a relationship with you. And so excited about this. So excited. Yeah, so we're going to be out and about. We will be on social media, and so this is just the beginning. And again, you can reach Angie on Facebook. You will soon be able to reach me again on Facebook and all of our social media platforms.
We will also have a page up. We'll have a page up for HITS.
Yes.
We'll have it on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Angie, thank you. I'm so excited about this. To our viewing audience, look out for HITS. Hello. It's that simple. We will be around. We will be rewarding those offering great customer service.
Absolutely.
We'll be helping those that need help in that area. And so we thank you, Angie. I thank you. And we'll be right back with more from View from the 302.
Take care.
Welcome Welcome back to View from the 302. I'm Richard Blackwell, and I'm very happy to have as my guest today the director from DETV, Channel 28, located in Wilmington, Delaware, Mr. Ivan Thomas. Ivan, how you doing, sir?
Mr. Blackwell, I am fine, but first, before we get started, let me tell you how much it's a privilege, sir,
No,
to be here and spending time and space with you on this wonderful day. Hold on, let me tell
no.
my mom. Let me holler in the other room and tell my mother I made it. Mom, I made
You better cut it out because I'm honored to have you. You know, Ivan, first of all, let me ask, how have you and your family been while this pandemic is happening?
We've actually, thank you for asking. We've actually been great.
Good.
And one of the things is I'm, in the middle of famine right now.
Mhm.
That if people could say they're great, it's definitely a blessing. If they say they're good, it's definitely a blessing. And if they're just alive, is definitely a blessing. So how are you and your family through
We're
this?
doing great, Ivan, and thank you also for asking. And I share those same sentiments. The fact that we
Hmm.
are alive and the fact that
Yeah.
our families are healthy is a blessing. You know,
Thank you, sir.
Ivan, it's really is a wonderful pleasure to be able to chat with you today about DETV Channel 28
Okay.
because I've been following you for a long time. And I mean, when
Yeah.
I say following you, I have been following you because I am so in awe of what you do and how you do it. Now,
Thank
if
you.
we can,
Hmm.
DETV, let's talk about DETV.
All
What is
right.
DETV for the viewers? What is DETV Channel 28 all about?
So we have DETV 28 and DETV
Mhm,
digital, right,
mhm,
online. And DETV is something that I created out of the basement of my home back in 2013 because it was actually made out of depression. I created it out of
mhm,
depression, and what happened was my daughter was born 1 pound 3 ounces at 5.5 months, and through that time before she was born, I lost my business, and I actually was a stay-at-home father with her.
mm,
She spent 289 days in the NICU. When she came home, she had 100 feet of oxygen running through the house, and we had 24-hour nursing. So what I
wow.
would do, because I was in this place, this dark place, and it was a surprise that she was born. You know what I mean? My
Mhm,
wife went to her annual, and they like, oh, you can't leave because you're about to have the baby. And she's like, what
mm.
baby? It wasn't showing, and so
That's
my life.
incredible.
Oh my gosh. And yes, so this is one of the reasons why I look at the glass as always full.
Mhm.
Because you ever have a time in your life, Mr. Blackwell, that you seen God do something and it hardwired you, and now you just can't think otherwise?
Of course,
This
Mr.
was my
Thomas.
this was my time. So what happened was I ended up to get out of depression. I ended up just like taking pictures of her and then making little videos and then trying to motivate other fathers that was going through what I was going through. And I went to eat one day, and at this time, I lost my business, I lost my home, I lost my cars because 2008 hit. And we all know what happened back then, that crazy recession.
Mhm.
Um, I met this gentleman at a restaurant, and we were talking, and he said, "What do you do?" And I was like, "I'm in between things." He's like, "Won't you come hang out with me?" And I said, long story short, what do you do? He's like, "I'm a cinematographer." And I was like, "Oh, okay, in Delaware?" And I went to hang out with him in Philadelphia, and he taught me the first time on set. He taught me, Ivan, get behind that camera, and I'm like, yo, bro, I don't know what I'm doing, and he taught me the science of it, of the camera, and the science of how to persuade, and the science of camera angles and how to tell a story, and I fell in love with that part of it. And what happened was when I started studying more and more about the camera and what it can do to the human psyche, I ended up just looking at the things in media that when
Mhm.
I grew up had an influence on me and my community. And that's when I said, you know what? I'm going to start creating something that can uplift my community, can uplift black and brown people, and we can tell our own narrative. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, I'm not excluding anyone else. I'm just saying I'm going to create it from my point of view to show the wonderful, the roses from the concrete, the tulips that grows out of sand in my community. Right. And when I started doing that, I had to understand the power of media. And when I did that, I made a vow to myself that I would never shoot a murder, kill video, anything degrading our women. And and that's when it hit me. 200% positive news 100% of the time. And that was the beginning of the brand of DETV, that I can use my influence and by creating a following, the camera, the lighting, like you see, to tell a story, the sound that can rest in someone's memory, a way of telling how great I see our people and other people and all types of people, and while bringing them together, regardless of race, color, sexuality, creed, religion, whatever. I wanted to use DETV as something, as a vehicle and a vessel to bring people together and tell the world how I see it and how others around me see it. So so back to your question, DETV is a positive platform that shares amazing information while bringing people together and hugging people at the same time.
Now, talking about where you are today, DETV, you're on channel 28. How can someone view the station?
Well, if you're in Wilmington or the Metro Wilmington, you can view it on Comcast Channel 28. If you're outside of Delaware, you have several different ways that you can do it. Where you can watch it on our Facebook page, you can watch it on our Twitter page, you can watch it on our YouTube page, which is they're all under DETV. And if you don't have social media, you can go to our website at detvch.com, and you can watch when we do live feeds. You can watch it. Hit the watch live button, and you can watch it then, or you can just watch the videos and all the amazing blog content that we have on our site as well. And we're building an app right now.
And you're building an app right now?
Yes.
As well? Okay. And you took control of Channel 28 in what, April of last year?
Yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
You've done a phenomenal job.
They should have never let me out the basement.
You've done a phenomenal job, Mr. Thomas.
Thank you. But let me preface this. Let me say this. I could not have done it without my team. When we first came in the TV station, my two friends, my dear friends, Leo and Dennis. I call Dennis the left side of my brain. He's the logic. He's like the logistics guy. And I have these ideas. Hey, I want to do this. And Dennis look over his glasses and he said, this is how we're going to do it. When we came in, we spent days, and I'm talking about 20-hour days in here, just pulling all the wires out and putting them back in where we found fit and where was right. And just from content to now, those guys, and now my back office and the other people that I have with me on right now, a man cannot be anything without his squad, without his team. And I give all thanks to, and I'm very grateful that God put these people in my life to help me out with this.
That's absolutely outstanding. Now, Channel 28, DETV, as you mentioned, and I'm glad you said that, you don't have to be in the Comcast area to enjoy your content. They can get you other ways as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you said those ways are they can go live on Facebook when you go?
Yep, they could go on Facebook on our DETV page, and they can see we put up content every day. Every day we put up content, so they can look at there. You can look at our archived content on YouTube and on our website at detvch.com.
All right. Now, give the viewers an idea of some of the content, some of the programs that you air. And I know you've got a lot, so.
I'll give you five. I'll give you five. I'll give you five. The one thing that we really take honor in is is how the community and how the certain politicians really trust us with their messaging. One, the governor, when COVID hit in March, and they shut the state down on March 15th, the governor, John Carney, reached out and was like, hey, how can you help us get a signal to the other news companies and go statewide with your message? So they was coming into the studio and we broadcast and multi-streamed his message. We've done work for Lisa Blunt Rochester. Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester. Our programming entitles the Delaware Bluecoats. We're the official TV station of the Delaware Bluecoats, which is the G League team of the 76ers. So all home games you can watch here on DETV. We are now currently in production of DETV Kids, which is a spinoff of our version of Sesame Street, Zoom, and most of all, the Electric Company for supplemental learning. And we're in production with The Mayor's Corner. We shoot The Mayor's Show every week. We shoot City Council President Hanifa Shabaz's Up Close and Personal with her every week. Like, bro, this is amazing. We're having, this is not even work. This is not work. It's fun.
I need a TV guy just to keep up with all of your programs.
Coming in October.
Now, the ideas for the program, and you mentioned that you have a team, sitting down, coming up with the best content. What is your mission of DETV?
That's a great question. That's a great question. Our mission is to provide the highest quality, like when I learned from that gentleman, Tim, that taught me how to shoot, was make sure you have the best quality out there. Make sure the sound is good. So we want to make sure that, one, we have the best quality. Two, we have the perfect messaging. Three, that we know how to market that messaging to the people that need to see it. And four, keep doing it over and over and over and over again. One thing that I tell people is I'm 6'5", 360-pound African-American man. And one thing you will not do is outshoot me. You will not outwork me. You will not out anything me when it comes to this. This is what I do, and I do it because if I don't, it'll be a smack in the face to the man above who gave me this ability to do it.
That's right. And he gave you not only the ability, but he also gave you the vision.
Yes,
because
sir.
You and I have spoke many times, many times, and we always put the credit where the credit is due. That's the man upstairs. We have talked about when he puts a vision in your head and you act on that vision, that means you're going to be successful in that particular aspect. And you definitely exemplify that.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Now, Mr. Thomas, the programs that you have on, is there any certain day of the week that your shows are on? If someone wanted to know when Up Close and Personal with Sister Hanifa Shabazz is on, or when your Kids Corner is on, how can we follow or see when we can watch these outstanding programs?
Well, what we've done so far with Comcast they're building a digital. You know how, like, when you go to a certain channel and it tell you the preview guide. Comcast are working on it right now to allow the public access TV station, us, to be on there. But what we do is on Sundays is our least access time, where we have Up Close and Personal is at 8 o'clock. The Mayor's Corner is at 8:30. Storm and Norman Community Crossfire is at 9. So we are actually still building that digital guide, viewer guide, so people can just go on and online and see what shows we have in order. I'm responsible for 168 hours of programming every week. And one thing and let me tell you, people were they were so scared that we weren't going to be able to fill those spots coming right out of the bat, because when we received the TV station, it was March 16th. We had April 1st to move in and have programming up. And what we did was, over the years, years in my basement, I had so much content and other public domain content, and we've been able to do it without a spill, without a blackout.
Yeah.
So we work diligently. and effectively to make sure that we give Wilmington a whole new way, and the people outside of Wilmington a whole new way to look at this beautiful state.
And that's what it's all about, Ivan, because there is so much beauty in our
Yes.
first state. There is
Yeah.
so many great things going on. And not just that, as you know, Mr. Thomas, there is a lot of great people that are doing their part in keeping Delaware moving every day. And
Yep.
you present these individuals in the utmost. You show everything that's good about Delaware. And that's
Oh my
an
God.
absolute wonderful thing.
Like take you for instance. You're amazing.
No,
Come on now. Now look,
me.
let's let the pot call the kettle black. All
No.
right. You know, when again, you paved the way for brothers like me, right? And even if you think that you haven't, you've done so. You know, I can't tell you as many times I sat and I watched your banter and your cadence because I didn't go to school for this. You know, I had to learn YouTube University and studying great people like yourself, like Tim Fontaine, to see how are they conducting themselves while on air. And if you even think about it, Mr. Blackwell, listening to my opening. What's going on, everybody? It's your main man, Big Ive, the talk of the town, Mr. DETV. Where'd I hear that from? Who influenced me to do that? Come on now. Come on now. You're going to talk to him, talk to him.
Now, let me ask you, Mr. Thomas, DETV, are you on 24 hours a day with your programming? What is the time slot for the bulk of your program?
We are 24 hours a day. We're on two stations, channel 28 and channel 1097 on high def on Comcast. So yeah, we are on like right now. Let me hold on right there. Let me move my mic. See that right there, the guy with the red with that right there.
Yes,
that
I
at
see
the
it.
very bottom.
I see it in the background.
Yep, that's what's playing live on TV right now throughout the Metro Wilmington area, Newcastle County.
Yes.
Yep.
And
So
see,
yeah,
that's the wonderful thing about chatting with you today, because we're live in your studio. We're
yeah,
live.
yeah.
This is DETV, folks, that we're looking at right now. You're seeing Mr. Ivan Thomas at his best, doing his thing.
We're in the control room.
Yeah.
I call this Battlestar Galactica. That's where we are right now.
Now, let me ask you, recently, the state of Delaware, city of Wilmington, hosted the National Democratic Convention.
Yes, sir.
How was that covering such a huge event? How was that for you and your team at DETV?
It was real. It was so real, right? And Mr. Blackwell, it didn't hit us until we got there because we felt we belonged. We knew.
There you go. There you go.
We knew we belonged there.
There
So
you go.
so I get an email, right? I received the email and I was like, oh, okay. Y'all want to go? And they were, y'all want to go to the DNC? And they were like, yeah. So
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah. So we go down to the waterfront, and we're just it's myself as my program manager, Leslie is my deputy station manager, Dennis, and as my friend from allhiphop.com, Grouchy Greg. He owns the biggest hip hop online site in the United States. And we're in my car, and we pull up, and Secret Service is like, "Hi, how can I help you?" It was like a little. It was you couldn't tell how you was going to go in with your car, right?
Right,
It was just like blocked off. But you saw Secret Service out there with the dogs, and they said, "How can I help you?" And I was like, "Hi, I'm Ivan, Big Ive," and they were like, "Oh, we were waiting for you." I was like, my guys was like, "What?" So we go in, and there were only 200 people allowed to go in with their vehicles, right? And we get in there, and there's the governor. We parked right behind Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester. It's the lieutenant governor. It's everyone in there, and we were just like, "Whoa, oh my gosh, we are here!" And there goes Joe Biden on the screen, and there goes Vice President Harris. Like we were like, we got to keep moving, and it was just something because I really believe that God gives you the fuel by things like that to tell you to just keep on moving and keep on pushing and keep on shooting and keep on doing what you do, because the sky is not the limit. The moon is the limit. And then there's some more after that.
And you know, Ivan, it's been on my head for a long time, is that Delaware, we get our news primarily from Channel 6 or Channel 10 out of Philadelphia. Why can't Delaware have its own news channel? Why can't we have things that are pertaining strictly to Delaware? And you are definitely supplying that forward.
Yeah. Wait till you see what we're about to drop. We're about to drop America's Turning Point with Carrie Evelyn Harris. Man, this is going to be it's going to be news. It's going to be changing the scope on Delaware. We are so excited with that. And you're right. And that was one of the ideas with DETV of when getting the TV station. And even before that, in the basement, it was like, yo, we don't have anything to pull from. You know, and when you think about it, and this is not a shot to other media companies out here, when I thought about it in my basement on a Thursday while drinking my cocoa, freezing in the basement, I realized that there were no media sources for people of color here in Delaware. We don't have a WDEL. We don't have a WJBR. We don't have a WSTW. We don't. So I thought, where do we get our news from? Where do we get our resources and our information? And I said, I'll create it. And people laughed at me and they joked and they thought I was crazy. And I was like, no, I got this vision. And I went around in my beat up car, my beat up van, and the van was so beat up. Every time I get into it, and I was ripping my jeans on the butt, and I still have all 5 pairs of jeans with holes in the butt, because it keeps me humble, right? It keeps me grounded, exactly. And what I want to tell anyone that's watching, any of your fans, any of your followers, any of the people that really just are just watching this, if you have a vision, and that vision is from God, people are going to talk. You fulfill that vision.
If someone's watching the program today and they want to do what you're doing, what words of advice can you give them?
First, I would have to say, Mr. Blackwell, I think that's an awesome question. Now, that question has so many ways that you can unpack it. It's what I would tell someone is, train your brain and get rid of the words I can't, no, and stop. And whatever you're going to do, it, especially in media, what I've learned from a wise man, he said, learn the rules first and then break them. You have to learn how everything works in your kitchen, in your body, everything, the fingers, they all have a different job to do. They all have cells, and you have to learn how to work it. So when you grip something, or when you grab something, or when you throw something, you can maximize what you're doing. The next thing I'll tell people is hustle. Hustle. Don't be afraid to hustle and be dedicated to the hustle. Like you mentioned offline about the picture that I posted about working all night. That's a part of me. That's me. I go home 3, 4 in the morning, take a shower, come back, because I believe that, like, when others are asleep, that's when you perfect your craft. That's when you work on it, and that's when you give it your heart and soul. When the world is stopping, the world is sleeping, you should be working. You should be grinding. You should be playing in it. Because I remember Mr. Blackwell, Michael Jackson was in the studio. I read somewhere Michael Jackson was in the studio for 48 hours. And they were like, Mike, yo, it's been 48 hours and you still in here. Like, it's time to go. And Mike was like, I can't go till it's finished. He said, and he's like, why can't you? He said, because the same idea, God gave it to Prince. And I got to make sure I put it out first. And that's how I feel. The same idea. Someone behind me is like, yo, I'm going to start a media company. Or I'm going to start this.
Exactly.
And where I don't believe in competition, I just believe in creating. is I won't give anyone that opportunity, that room. So I'm going to work my butt off. I'm going to dedicate. And it was even a time in my life when my wife was like, "Yo, I don't know, this ain't going to work. You might have to get a job." I'm like, "Job? I'm great at this."
This
And I
is
had
your
to tell,
job.
yeah, I had
This
to
is
tell
your
her,
job.
I'm great at this. And if
Yeah.
you got to leave, I get it. I understand. But I'm not stopping. I don't, now, first of all, let me say this. I don't
I
recommend that
understand.
for everybody. I don't recommend that to everybody.
Now, before we wrap up, Ivan, if
hmm
someone has some content that
hmm
they would like to pitch to DETV, how
hmm
can they contact you?
Well, they can contact me at Ivan at DETVCH.com. They can contact me on Facebook. They can even contact me on LinkedIn, Twitter. Send a pigeon, put a message in a bottle, baby. Send for me. You can do whatever you want. I'm there. You know what I mean?
And
Caught you off
also,
guard on that one.
that was a good one, Atlantic Star. Anyway,
That's
anyway, do me a favor before we go. Also, I want you to
yes,
do a
sir.
couple of things. Give your website so people can
Okay.
follow DETV. Give your website.
It's DETVCH.com.
All right. And Ivan, before we go, is there a message you would like to send out to the viewers while we are still dealing with this pandemic here in Delaware?
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. My message to people right now is in this political travesty
Mhm.
and in this pandemic, there is a couple things that can get us through this, but the number one thing is love. Make sure that whatever you do, and a good friend of mine, Marla Blunt, she said to me, love will get us through. And that's a song in it, Mr. Blackwell.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Love will get us through.
That's right.
And intention, let your intentions be right.
And you
Wake
know,
up in the morning. What do you say?
no, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
Oh, no,
cut you off.
when you wake up in the morning, put your left foot on the ground and say thank, and put your right foot on the ground and say you. Be grateful, love, and do whatever, all that love, make sure you do it with the right intention. And I promise you, in record time, you will change the world will change your life, and you just keep it going, back and forth.
And you know, this is the September edition of View from the 302. Coming up in 2 months, we have a big election. So we want to encourage everyone to do what, Mr. Thomas?
Vote,
Thank you.
vote, vote, vote.
Thank you. That's it. Well, Mr. Thomas, it's been a pleasure. You and I can do this
All day,
for hours. We've done
all
it,
day,
but this is amazing. And I just want to thank
all
you,
day.
sir, for taking time out of your busy schedule to spend some time with us and our audience from View from the 302. We thank you so much, Ivan.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
You're welcome, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We've got more View from the 302 coming up right after this.
Welcome back to View from the 302. I am Patricia Harris.
And I'm Richard Blackwell. And you know, Patricia, there's been a lot of talk about Delaware moving into phase 3.
Mhm.
And we have some news from Governor John Carney, who indicated that there is no timetable for Delaware to move into phase 3 of its reopening plan, following the shutdown put in place to help curb the spread of COVID-19.
Yeah.
Now, the governor also said it's a question of balancing the message that needs to be in place, such as wear a mask and social distance. That's what's going to help stomp down the virus and enable us to bring children back to schools and businesses more open so they can get revenue and survive as they put people back to work.
The Delaware Division of Public Health reported 61 new cases of COVID-19 in its daily report recently, marking more than a week since the number of new cases was in triple digits. But Richard, there is some good news.
Wow.
The percentage of positive tests was 4% for the most recent data, as the 7-day average has been 3.8%.
That is good news, man.
Yes. Both of those numbers are under the World Health Organization's recommended mark of 5%. Current COVID-19 hospitalizations remained near their lowest total since March, according to the DPH.
Yeah, and those numbers at this point for the state of Delaware, there's been 1,783 cases of COVID-19. And unfortunately, we're sad to report that there have been 684 deaths in our state. And of course, our prayers go out to all the families that have lost loved ones during this pandemic.
Absolutely.
Now the Department of Public Health also announced no new COVID-19 related deaths at the time of this broadcast, and once again bringing the total to 684. Now, with the improving numbers, Patty, Governor Carney said he is more concerned with Delaware getting to a place where schools can reopen before moving to phase 3. Now, to do that, we have to have conditions that warrant it, such as making sure that we practice social distancing and also wear our mask. Governor Carney said that we are almost there. So keep up the good work, everyone.
Yes. And based on current numbers, the state is recommending a hybrid reopening of schools between online and in-person learning, although the final decision will be left up to the individual districts. Now, Governor Carney said not much will change throughout most businesses sectors in phase 3, with the most affected businesses being restaurants and bars in terms of capacity. And we're seeing that.
Yes, and that makes a lot of sense.
States.
Yes, that's correct. Now, Patricia, Governor Carney said that we have 2 objectives. 1, to reinvigorate the economy, and 2, to bring children back to school.
Absolutely.
He also indicated that they are connected, and that's what will guide our decisions with respect to the reopening that has to occur. Most of that, as you said, Patricia, is restaurant capacity and gatherings in places that are the greatest risk of transmitting the virus in our community.
Yes.
So there we have it, folks. That's our update for our COVID-19 situation here in the state of Delaware. And once again, Patricia, we just keep everyone in prayer, anyone who's suffering or anyone who has lost any family or loved ones during this time.
Yes, absolutely. And as we get used to this new norm, let's just stay diligent and wear a mask, wash our hands, and let's stay, socially distant.
Now, we do have some good news as our state continues to try to move forward with this new norm every day. And we do have some events that are going on, and they are COVID-19 safe. Patty, what do you have?
So I'm excited to share some events that are taking place in September. On Thursday, September the 3rd, at the Glasgow Park, You will be able to enjoy the Glasgow concert series.
Wow.
Yes, I'm excited about that myself. And on
Yes.
September 3rd, Stasia LaCole will be in concert from 6 to 8 p.m.
All right, and that's Glasgow Park Concert Series. That
Yes,
should be great. And Stacia LaCole is an outstanding vocalist.
yes, she
So
is.
if you want to have a good time, folks, it's outside, so go and enjoy that. Also in Wilmington on September 16th, it's the Sunday Soul Dinner at Celebrations on Market Street on the riverfront in Wilmington, featuring music by the 3-in-1 Band with Maya Bellardo, another outstanding vocalist. Doors open at 5 p.m.
Wonderful. And in Dover, on Saturday, September 12th, it's the live comedy show honoring Delaware's first responders at the
Wow.
Boulevard Cafe. You know, we know about the Boulevard Cafe,
Yes, we do.
1036 Lafferty Lane. Show times are 3 to 6 p.m. Oh, excuse me, 3, 6, and 9 p.m.
There you go. Good. And we commend Charles Boyer and his staff for doing something to commemorate or to help the first responder of Delaware. And to keep your spirits up, every Saturday, don't forget, you can join me as I host the Saturday night party in place old school house party. And it happens every Saturday from 9 p.m. till midnight on Facebook Live. And that's where, folks, you can join me, move the furniture out the way so that you can party all night long with your favorite old school jams. That's every Saturday night on Facebook Live. And also, Patty, we know that month of November, we're going to be having our big election.
Yes, so important.
Yes, we want to remind people to get your mail-in ballots completed right away and take them directly to the post office.
Yes.
So keep that in mind, folks, because as you know, Patricia, this election is going to be very vital to our country for the next 4 years and beyond.
Yes, so please, to our listening audience, please get out and vote. Make sure your voice is heard. Your vote is counted.
That's right. So, Patricia, that does it for our September edition of View from the 302. I'd like to thank my guest, Ivan Thomas from DETV-Channel 28, for being on with us today.
I would like to thank my guest, Angelica Vidro, with Nature's Canvas by Artbug. This was an awesome show, Richard, and we ask that our listening audience tune in the month of October, October the 7th, for our next program.
That's right. So thank you, folks, for watching. I'm Richard Blackwell.
And I am Patricia Harris.
Stay safe, and God bless.
God bless.